Is masturbation a sin? Is it right? Is it wrong? That's not up to me to decide. Is gambling a sin? Is it right? Is it wrong? Again, that's not up to me to decide. Is drinking wrong? Not up to me to decide. Now, let's change the scenario. If it were a 5-year-old having sex or masturbating, like I said before, masturbating, if it were a 5-year-old masturbating, would that be right or would that be wrong? Because the United Nations, or UNESCO rather, the United Nations Economic, Social, and Cultural Organization thinks 5-year-olds should be being taught how to masturbate. Now, as for drinking, is that wrong for 5-year-olds? If 5-year-olds should be getting taught about masturbation so they won't get people pregnant, should they be getting taught about alcohol? Should they be giving alcohol in the home? That way they won't go out of the home and drink? Should we give them drugs in the home? That way they won't go out and drink? Is gambling wrong? I don't think it's wrong for me. Is it wrong for a 5-year-old? Yes, it is. It's wrong for a 5-year-old because their minds aren't mature enough yet. But when you look in the media, you have young girls as young as 13, 14, and 15 dressing up sexually and very provocatively. Now ask yourself, with all these girls who are dressing up like this and all these girls on the street you see who are dressed up very provocatively, if we start to teach kids at a much younger age about sex education and all this crap that they have no business knowing at that age, where are they going to be a couple years down the road? Maturity level, sexual wise. All you have to do is turn on any show on TV like Maury, Povich, any of those kind of shows. It's always these shows where it's sex, or it's young girls who don't want to obey their parents. They're going out, they'll sleep with whoever they want. They've already had like 4 or 5 abortions. Now, if we those girls, a lot of the time are 12. Okay? Let's say we were to start teaching girls at 5 years old about masturbation. Okay, so 5, that's 7 years old. That they'd probably be when they become pregnant, let's say. Because as society gets more perverse, perverts spring up in that perverse society, as we all know. So think of it. And please, leave a comment in the bottom. Is it right? Is it wrong? Should kids at 5 years old be taught about masturbation? Should they be taught about dildos, about lubrication, about how to put on a condom, all that kind of stuff? Or shouldn't they? Because if we do allow these people, these liberal douchebags, to start teaching this in our schools at 5 years old to kids, soon enough, they'll be starting to teach them every aspect of it. Which, according to what I'm reading here on my screen, they want to start teaching them about that aspect of it right now. That is not correct to teach 5-year-old kids about sex. Yeah, hey, Jimmy, here. Have a joint. Here, have one, bro. It's just weed. Here, bro, try some coke. It's just coke. You know what I mean? It's a gateway. They're going to start at masturbation. Then they're going to move on to sex. Whether they use condoms or not, they're going to, after that, move on to unsafe sex after a while. It's just going to happen. So ask yourself, before you comment, think hard. Do not just think politically. Think socially, think morally, call on your religious views. Should kids be taught at 5 years old how to jerk off, or girls at 5 years old how to finger themselves? And I'm putting in those terms because that's what they're going to be taught. They're not going to be taught masturbation. They're going to be taught how to jerk off, how to spank their penis, or how to finger their vagina. That's what they're going to be taught. And hey, if you're offended, great, because that's what's going to be taught to kids across the world if governments adopt what the UN wants. The very same governments that are failing us on almost every other aspect of life. These governments are failing us in education. They're failing us on the DMV. They're failing us on stuff like, I don't know, like I just said, education. They're failing us on stuff like in countries where it's socialized healthcare. They're failing them on socialized healthcare. But yeah, you expect them to do good on that? Think of it. Come on. These governments are not going to do this right. If they do it, they'll do it full out and they'll pervert society. This is just a leadway into the perversion of society and leading us closer and closer to Armageddon, the end of days, whatever you want to call it. You can call me a conservative Christian nutjob, but hey, look it up in your Bible. I don't really have the time or the patience to quote you the quotes, but look it up in your Bible. We are getting more and more perverse in society. Sex before marriage is not proper. Abortion is not proper. Condoms are not proper. This has been my mind this week, and thank you for listening.